All right, how we feeling? Kai, you feeling good? Not so good? How we feeling though, all right? What did you guys think of that kind of class, the not for time stuff? Did you like it, not like it? Be honest, you can say it sucks.
I have a hard time not going as fast as I can anyway, so for me.
Yeah, the CrossFitter in you really wants to just turn everything into a Metcon. And
I liked it.
you liked it? Something different? Change your pace? Man, that's what CrossFit's supposed to be. It's supposed to be continually varied. You know, constantly varied is one of the tenets of what we do here. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this particular topic today is that not often do we treat gymnastics in terms of strength the same way we do barbells. It's not very often you guys come here and we just do some gymnastic strength. And when I say gymnastic strength, I mean primarily using your body as the only means of resistance to get stronger. Now, I think you guys have heard me talk about this before, but there's a fitness, what was nice about CrossFit is they were first people to define what fitness is. And this list of 10 general physical skills was stolen from the guys that make the Dynamax medicine balls, the one we use for wall balls back there. But they came up with a list of 10 different physical skills someone would want to possess to have a high level of fitness. 4 of them are things that are developed through training and can be measured. Like if you went under a microscope, you can see that your muscles are getting stronger, they're able to apply more force, they're able to hold more glycogen, so they have more storage and better stamina. And then there are 4 things that come only through practice, or primarily neurological adaptations. The 2 things we care most about, though, are kind of in the middle, power and speed. They are a combination of both practice and organic changes, which are measurable changes that happen inside of your body. And high level of fitness requires a balance amongst all of these things. It would be nice if we lived in the video game world where we slide everything all the way over to 100 and we're like, we're superhuman now. We're immortal. That would be really cool. If you were like me growing up, you played video games, played Madden NFL, you created yourself, you were 6'10", you were 400 pounds, and you ran a 3.4 40. All of those things are unrealistic completely. But the idea here is you want to create like this superhuman person. Well, we have to realize that in order to cultivate what we call elite level fitness in here, which you guys should think of as just super wellness, we need to have a compromise between all of the fitness domains. We don't want to train any at the expense of others. And the example is always the fringe athlete of like the power lifter. You do not want to be that person, or at least I don't want to be that person, who can deadlift 1,000 pounds if I can't run 400 meters without stopping because I'm out of breath. I want balance in my fitness. Nor do I want to be able to run a 2.5-hour marathon if that means I can only deadlift a PVC pipe. I want balance in these things. So we have to realize that elite level fitness is a compromise between capacities, and you are only as fit as you are balanced in all of these things. Now, what I'm ultimately going to get at here today is that if we look at the pyramid above us, we talk about nutrition quite a bit recently. We made it a big part of what allows us to get the most we can from class. If we aren't paying attention to the things that we are putting in our body, we aren't doing CrossFit. CrossFitters pay attention to what they put in their body. Now, do you need to have a high level of scrutiny with every single meal? Probably not, because I don't want you to have some sort of mental breakdown. But I do want you to pay attention to what you put in your body, because what you put in your body ultimately helps determine how healthy you will be and how fit you will be. Now, if we move up one step from that, we do conditioning here all the time. In fact, we did it as part of class today. Everyone breathed heavy with the row? Yes. Everybody breathed pretty heavy with the lunges too? I found that as I went through this workout, as I went through the 10 rounds, heart rate stayed pretty manageable, and by rounds like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I was sitting on the bench between my next round of pull-ups and dips because my heart rate was so high. So we do a decent amount of that. Now, the thing I want to address is often we want to take a leap above the middle step there. That big blue one, gymnastics. A lot of us want to be like, all right, cool, I'm eating better, I started to get conditioning in, show me the barbell. I don't give a fuck about those pull-ups, show me the barbell. Where's the barbell at? And the problem here is, before we should be worrying about moving external objects, we should be better at moving our own body weight, because that is how we develop a well-rounded and strong person. It makes far more sense to learn how to move your body through space than it does to take additional weight. Same reason why I would teach you the air squat before I would teach you the back squat. It makes no sense to load you up with heavy weight if you can't do the foundation with just your empty body weight. And the problem here is there's a high level of like barrier to entry with gymnastics. Some of us come to the gym having never focused on our diet or focused on lifting before or moving our own body, and find that our body weight is the reason why we can't do gymnastics. Pretty common sentiment amongst CrossFitters. which is one of the reasons why I want you to entertain the idea that when we eat, we want to support exercise, but not body fat. And when I mean support exercise, I mean just eat at a level that supports your activity. If you've got a desk job, you need to eat a lot less than if you are a manual laborer, because you are moving far less. Now, as we go into the gymnastics realm, a common question is, all right, like, cool, this is what we're doing today. I really wanted to do the dips. I really want to do strict pull-ups, and you said I couldn't use a big band. How do I get better at it? The way we get better at gymnastics essentially happens in kind of a three-level approach. The first thing you want to be able to do with your gymnastics, if you really want to work on these or you were frustrated you weren't able to do the gymnastics today, first thing you want to be able to do is what's called an isometric. You want to be able to hold a position. So in the push-up, for example, you need to be able to hold the top of the push-up and then hold the bottom of the push-up with proficiency. If you're talking about the pull-up, you're hanging, and you're also able to hang with your chin over, statically and with control. If you're talking about the dip, top of the dip, bottom of the dip. Once you can master those two positions, which have infinite scalability there, because I could do the pull-up hang, and I could keep one foot in the box. If I'm doing the push-up, I could do it on a bar that's elevated. If I'm doing the dip, I could keep one foot on the floor and decide how much weight is in my foot. But I can begin to develop the top and the bottom of the dip, pull-up, or push-up, or any gymnastics movement. Once I get proficient there, I can start working on what's called negatives. And you guys heard me say that quite a bit about pull-ups and handstand push-ups. Basically, start at the end range, which would be when the muscle is the shortest, and work to get it nice and long. So in a push-up, that's lowering to the floor. In a pull-up, it's lowering from arms bent to arms straight. In a handstand push-ups, from arms straight to arms bent. All depends on the plane of action that you're working through. But you would work what's called a negative. You're trying to resist the lowering as slow and as controlled as you can. Once you've developed the static positions and the eccentrics, or the resisting of the lowering, then it's time to start working on the concentric. And we want to think about any gymnastics movement. If we have the goal of developing them, that is the order we want to work in. We want to work on isometric, so holding positions. Then we want to get better at resisting the lengthening of a muscle, which is called eccentrics. So again, resisting the lengthening of my bicep and my lats as I lower myself in the pull-up. And then and only then do I want to work on the concentric. And I want you all to think about, if you really, really like what we do here and gymnastics are frustrating to you, the next time someone's like, hey, you want to do power cleans? Say, no thanks. Let's work on gymnastics together. It's not as sexy, it's not as fun at first, but I would argue that most CrossFitters need to spend more time in that domain, learning how to move their own body, because learning how to move your own body essentially helps give you better proprioception and awareness of where your body is in space. It helps develop your connective tissue. And you better believe there isn't a better domain than gymnastics to develop these bottom four traits: the coordination, the accuracy, balance, and agility, all of which are a direct component into your ability to express power, which is the ability to do more work in less time, which we've talked about before. It's kind of the holy grail of training. The intensity you feel in workouts is power. There's no different, better example than the row you just did. When you guys were cranking on that rower super duper hard, if you had flipped the screen over from calories to watts, watts are a measure of power. And you would have seen how much watts you created across however long your row was. In 2 months, you could train that exact same thing again and see your improvement in power. And improvement in power comes a result of both the organic changes you get in your day-to-day through training that can be measured inside your body, and the inorganic, which happens only when you practice something. Those two things together to converge to make you the fittest version of yourself. And one last parting thought. I thought this quote was really good. This comes from the guy that invented CrossFit, Greg Glassman. Much of the rudiments of gymnastics come only with great effort and frustration. Rudiments mean benefits. The benefits of what you get from gymnastics, even with practice, even without getting your first pull-up for a very long time. The simple practice of being able to do that is a great lesson for life. You would like to know that what you come in here and do teaches you for lessons that you can take outside of this place. If you really, really want something and something is truly worth doing, it's not going to come easily. And if it was easy, it probably wasn't worth it. I think you've all had a life experience where you've worked really hard at something and finally get it and how good that feels. Gymnastics are no different. That's acceptable, and that's why it's so profound when you start working on these things and make them part of what you do here. So again, if you don't have a lot of those gymnastics movements, the pull-up, the push-up, the dip, the handstand push-up, the handstand hold, the handstand walk, I would encourage you guys to play more. Do that more often, because you're going to find that you get better at everything else that you already like to do. Do you guys have any questions on any of that? Cool. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Glad that was a little big class. We made it work. See you guys next time. Thanks for coming in. You're welcome.